What's up, y'all? This is Erica. It's Monday. We are down here talking about Real Housewives of Potomac. It's Monday, y'all. Hope everybody's had a great weekend. Lovecraft Country was good again last night. I may review it. I don't know yet. But we're down here to talk about Potomac. So, it's a lot of traffic this morning, huh? Something must be... What's going on? There's a lot of cars at the... Let pass. I hope everybody's doing okay today. So, let's talk about it. Go ahead and like, subscribe, and comment. Let me know you stopped by. And let's see where we are. I took a lot of notes. I was live tweeting as well. Let's just talk about the episode, and I guess I'll give my commentary as we go. I have a couple minutes to spare down here. I did start watching season 2 again. Because I wanted to see Gigi. I started watching that over the weekend. Then I also watched what is that Chris Watts documentary. He killed his wife and kids because he wanted to start a new life. But I watched Gigi. I wanted to see who Gigi was. And so I got to see who Gigi was. And it was funny when Giselle was in Monique's house that day. She kicked her out of her house. And she told, and Cal called Gigi Riri. And because Riri was trying to confront Cal and Giselle for talking about Monique, or whispering about Monique in her house. So she felt it was her duty, I guess, to defend her and confront Cal and Giselle. And they was looking at her like, girl. And when Cal called her Riri, and she was like, no, it's Gigi. Girl, we know what your name is. Riri. It's gonna be Riri today. Anyways, so it starts off. This is a long review. I have like a lot of pages, so let me just hold one page at a time so I don't be jumping up back and forth. I thought it was shady that they called it a wine bar fight. It has been 5 days after the wine bar fight. I thought this whole time that Charisse introduced Monique and to Candiace, but apparently Ashley introduced Monique to Candiace, as we can see on the replay. And that, to me, makes me understand this alliance. It makes me understand deeper into this alliance, this weird, strange alliance that Monique and Ashley got going on. And it becomes evident throughout this episode, the way that the cameras or the producers kept spotlighting Ashley's reactions. So Candiace is in her house. You can hear Wendy yelling in the background, stop, stop, stop. Candiace is just processing everything, says that Monique is a genuine friend. She is a woman who called me her sister. She just feels like she's sad and at a complete loss. And when you break up with a friend, sometimes it's harder to grieve, or it's more difficult to break up than it is with a romantic partner, because that person has had access to areas of vulnerability that not everybody has. So sometimes it's hard to get over those things, and maybe that's where Candiace is right now in this time. Is feeling, sad. I feel like I've lost a friend. This is somebody that called me a sister. You got to think about it. If you're friends with somebody, what is the line that is crossed? What's the line in the friendship? Once you put your hands on me physically as friends, I'm not sure I can come back from that. That's why I don't understand the Kenya and Portia situation. I don't think I can come back from that. Monique, she is in the scene with her and Chris, with the kids. Look like they're getting ready for bed. Monique tells the kids, I'm tired. Please allow me to sleep in. Don't come crawling in the bed because mommy has to sleep. So, here we are again with this theme that Monique has going on, is that she's tired. She is recalling the situation, and she's recalling it in the order that she believes is the right order based on what she saw, right? She's recalling the order. I said I don't know what order. I know what order I saw it, but when Monique was recalling it, that's not the order that I saw it in. I don't know what Monique saw. She said that she keeps starting it with the drink as if the drink was the catalyst, but then she also said that somebody pushed her, but then she also said that she felt threatened. And so she has a lot of the way that she's recalling the story. It's all in all different orders. So she calls Karen because she wants to have a meeting with everybody, and she feels like Karen's space would be a neutral environment to have it, which I thought was a good idea. Obviously, minus Candiace, we're going to allow you to have a safe space for you to state your truth of what happened, and I think that's fair. And so Wendy in another scene is saying how she's going to sit down with the girls. Monique is making some more, she's like, Robin feels like Monique is going to be making excuses like everything is okay, and like, you know, kind of justifying her actions. And then you see Giselle having a conversation with her daughter, daughters asking them, you know, I don't think, if she's not remorseful, I don't think I'm going to be able to move past this. And her daughters are looking like that. And I think it actually is, I think it is okay for you to tell your children at an age appropriate time that what's going on between you and your friendships, because sometimes they can give you insight. You know, Noelle has done it with Cynthia. What's the girl's name? Ramona's daughter has done it with her, you know, giving her advice. Luann's daughter has done it with her. When you have young women, young girls growing up, they might give you a different perspective. You had remember Jackie on New Jersey. Her daughter was giving her, remember she was giving her daughter advice about bullying, and she was acting like the damn bully, and her daughter was giving her advice. So I don't think it's any different for Giselle to include her daughters and explain to them what she was a witness to. Will her version of the story probably be biased? Yes. Okay, so we get to that later. Karen calls Candiace and lets her know that what's about to happen. We're allowing Monique to come over and give her side. Candiace says she's spoken to all the women and everybody saw what happened. I don't even know why you guys are extending grace to her. Well, I think it's okay to extend grace to her. She is a part of their friend group, and she did something that was out of agreement amongst the friend group. And so we need to talk about it and find out what the hell is wrong with her. What happened? Girl, are you sorry? What triggered you? All of this stuff. So I think it is okay for them to give Monique that space. And Karen says she's grace under fire, and she wants to be able to hear her out. So Robin arrives first in her outfit. I don't know what Robin had on. I don't know what hair that was doing. I don't know what she was going for. Giselle comes with security child, KB. So extra, but at the same time, on trend, right? With Giselle. Giselle has on this knitted pink sweater with some buttons right here and some workout pants with a white stripe included and some heels and this jacket she had on. I have no idea what Giselle had on. So she comes with her security guard. So what do you guys think about the security guard? Do you think it was extra? Do you think it was on trend? Do you think it made a statement? I think it was extra. I think it was on trend. And I think it also made a statement like, I don't trust you. So I need security. And what's her name says, I got to make sure that none of you hoes get froggy out here. There will never be anything in a newspaper saying that Giselle Bryant got into an altercation with somebody. That's not how this goes. And I don't blame Giselle. I don't blame Giselle. Some people are like, you're not going to be able to catch me anywhere. Will never be anything on the internet talking about me fighting anybody. So if you hoes want to get froggy, I got a security guard here to help me out. I don't blame her. I thought it made a great statement. to the environment that has changed because of one person's actions. It's fair. It's fair. And what do you expect from Giselle when it comes to Monique? What do you expect? Giselle says she doesn't have any commentary. She doesn't have, I don't have any questions. I have commentary. That's all I have. Ashley shows up. She doesn't have a babysitter again. So they're talking amongst themselves before Monique gets there. And we see Ashley says, well, I talked to Monique the day after, and Monique says she's not proud of her actions. Okay, so Ashley is already creating a buffer for Monique, right? A buffer with the women who are clearly not happy with her. Monique, so they talk about the text that Monique sent, not the text, the tweet that says, ask and you shall receive. So what do you think about that? There's another indication of her being like, okay, I did what you asked me to do. That was her saying that. To me, she's bragging. She's bragging. Monique was bragging, okay? On the way there, Monique calls Chris and he says, well, you just need to express yourself. And he said it once again, I like Candiace and Chris. Now, I don't know if that's just the old, I don't want you to have beef with anybody. I felt like when Candiace was leaving the lake house that Chris was already like, Chris is always going to be my boy. Like, you already had a feeling that there was a problem between Monique and Candiace. But he keeps saying, I like Chris and Candiace. I like Candiace and Chris. So I don't know how you're going to work this out or whatever. So Wendy lets herself into Karen's house, which was funny because they was like, was the door open? Because Wendy just came in like, okay, what y'all want to do? Y'all ready to talk? So Karen is setting the stage and letting everybody know this is going to be a safe space. Wendy says, I also want it to be a brave space where we can be truthful with each other. Because there's some other things that are underlying and some other things that happen afterwards. And Robin goes, are you talking about the blogs? And she said, yeah. So Karen said, please explain to me about the blogs and what they do and what happened, acting like she's so old she don't get it. But whatever. So they talked about the one-sided story that came out Friday, 2 days after the incident happened. And that comes in again later. And it was a one-sided blog. Then Robin is very vocal about this part. And you could see Ashley's face reacting to like, okay, so somebody sent a blog and she was looking like, a little suspect, in my opinion. Why, if it wasn't Monique and it was somebody random, why would they wait 2 days to let the blogs hear about it? There's some other things. Wendy says when women act like this, it perpetuates that black women are angry and violent. And Wendy goes into her diatribe about how, basically y'all out here acting up in front of these white people. We're supposed to be trying to assimilate and get a seat at the table with them. So please be on your best behavior to the most violent group of people in human history. Giselle sits there and says, we have been able to place ourselves above the stereotype. Now, they also talk about what's her name being a bad role model for her child. I don't think that that's fair. I think it's honest to have conversations with your children when they're age appropriate. Milani and Lil Chris are not age appropriate to say, hey, you know what, your mom got into a fight yesterday. That's none of their damn business. They don't know what she's being a role model for. Yes, the little girl and Lil Chris might hear them talking about it, but it's too early to sit down and have a conversation where they'll be able to process a friendship, right? Because they might be in school, but do they have conflicts with their friends yet? Or do they get mad at their friends and then by recess they're friends again? You understand? That's how children fight. We mad at each other in class, but when we get on the playground, we don't have nobody else to play with. We go to our friends. Okay, are you still mad at me? Okay, you friends, just really quick like that. So I don't think that she's being a bad role model for her children. I think if her children were like Giselle's daughter's age, that maybe she could say, yeah, I had a physical altercation with my friend. Does that make Giselle a bad role model? I think it would only make Monique a bad role model if her, like I said, if her children were older and she was trying to justify to them why she lost control over herself. Instead of understanding that, I think it's only right to frame to your children that I don't want to say that it's okay. It's okay to have your emotions. It's okay to feel a certain type of way. You can feel angry about something, and then explain to your children why the way that you reacted was not correct, right? So you explain to them, I got into a fight, and this is not the correct way that you resolve conflict, right? And so if she's bragging about it, then I would say, okay, she's modeling a role that is unfavorable, and that's not how you want to act. So I don't think that she's being a bad role model to her children. I just don't. It's human behavior, but that's just them trying to further vilify her, like looking for everything to say, she's violent, she's a bad role model, she's just a bad look for this group, because we have been able to hold ourselves above the stereotype. You cannot get more stereotypical than a desperate, unmarried woman taking back a man who cheated on her. That you can't get more stereotypical than that. That's all I'm going to say about that. Candiace is in therapy talking to Dr. Ken. She's crying. She's already stabbing her tear ducts with this. Like I said, Candiace, you would do great if you came out with a line of handkerchiefs for the girls who cry. For the girls who cry and don't want to. She acts like she can't let any water come out of her tear ducts. That stabbing the eye is just so she could fold up a napkin. She could fold it up real quick and hit her tear duct like, keep it down. That's unhealthy too. Go ahead and cry, girl. Maybe you need to take your lashes off and cry about it, because that is, I'm gonna cry. So she's recalling the incident. Now, this is where it gets interesting for me. She recalls the incident and she explains how she was engaging Monique. And she says, I was just like, girl, I'm over you. That's how she was saying that she was in the energy that she was giving was like, girl, shut up, I'm over you. And that falls in line with what we saw. I felt like Candiace's recalling was honest. Now, I don't feel the same way about Monique in her recall of the story. Candiace let us know that she hit the lapel. Everybody has been kind of like, I don't know what Candiace's hand was doing. Candiace let us know, honestly, what her hand was doing, and they showed it, right? It shows Candiace apologizing several times. Now, if your friend keeps apologizing to you, why are you still harboring so much resentment to the point where you are uncontrollable, blacked out, violent anger? That's concerning. Monique arrives, right? So we move from so they going back and forth from this therapy session to this friend group meeting, right? Monique arrives and she thanks everybody for she thanks Karen for allowing people to have a thing at her house or whatever. And she's saying, I just don't want it to be any weird tension, amongst the group. I have no explanation. I don't want to talk about Candiace. I just want to talk about myself. Okay, is that fair? You want to talk about your actions. Okay, let's talk about your actions, okay? Karen stands up and lets everybody know that we are going to support Monique. She kind of lays a foundation. We're going to support Monique. We're going to allow Monique to, talk and to say, to tell her truth or whatever. This is a safe space and blah, blah, blah. She sets the tone. She puts her hand on Monique's back, which for me, I felt like Monique at least needed one person there so that she can feel safe. it doesn't feel like she felt safe because she continued to be condescending, interrupting people when they were talking towards Giselle, Robin, and also Wendy. She knew who was not in agreement with her behavior, and when they talked, she interrupted them and spoke over them and was extremely condescending and aggravating. Like, it was very aggravating what she was doing. So she immediately says, "That's not me. I don't want to be defined by that moment." Now, if that's not you and you don't want to be defined by that moment and you want people to extend grace to you, I think those particular people need to see remorse in order to buy "that's not who I am, and please extend grace to me and don't define me by this one action." I think those particular group of women need to see remorse, and you're not displaying that behavior, so they're not buying your story. They're not buying "this is not me." And Giselle, baby, came with the receipts. I said, oh, bitch. Giselle was ready. So all Giselle needed was for you to act a fool. The way that Candiace was acting and saying, "Oh, girl, the hood rat comes out," that's Giselle's like, "Okay, bitch, I'm about to really bring my notes here and let you know about yourself." Baby, Giselle had her receipts ready. When I apologized, she said she apologized to them for putting them in harm's way. I thought that was great. Great. She apologized to them. Okay, once again. She says, Giselle starts taking notes, right? Was that rude of Giselle to do that? When she moved immediately, what's her name, got defensive. Monique got defensive, and she said, "Well, that's fine if you want to be self-righteous and get on your high horse," which she read that completely wrong. And Giselle said, "No, I'm not getting on my high horse or anything. I'm taking notes so I can respond to what you're saying." I said, oh, okay, Monique. Monique was already in defense. She wasn't going to, and she said that on the way. I think these women already have their mind up. Why do you think these women have their mind up? Was your behavior, you think that your behavior, you know your behavior was wrong. You know who's not going to be on board with your behavior, and you know who your allies are. You know who they are. They're Ashley and Karen, and that was very, very clear. She starts recalling the story and says that she blacked out. But then they showed her recalling the story to the producer while she was in the back seat and recalling it play by play. So if you were able to recall the fight play by play, and in your recall seem like you were happy with the way that you fought her, you were proud of how you fought her because it was very detailed. I grabbed her head and put her down, and then I started bashing her head in. Okay, these are the words that you're using to describe your own actions, no one else. And you seem to recall them very well, right? But you blacked out. So I don't know how those two can exist at the same time, where your recall is exact to the producer right after the incident, but you say that you blacked out. So I said Monique was lying in her recall. In her recall, she was not being truthful. Unlike Candiace's recall, she was letting you know how she was engaging her. That to me stood out, how the recall, when they both recalled it, one actually was recalling it according to how we saw it on the screen, and the other was recalling it out of order in order to put herself into position to justify her behavior. Okay? Monique admits that she had, I'm amped up. Wendy said you had to step back and maintain yourself or something. I don't know why I wrote that. No physical control over myself. She had a glass of wine. It hit my face, and then it was over after that, is how she explains it. So she stops explaining. Robin says, "You almost had me. But I'm going to let you know that's a 100% lie. That's an absolute lie. You're lying, basically. You did not have, that was not Candiace's wine on your face. That she had white wine. She didn't have red wine. The red wine was from the velocity of the table and everything flying around is how you got wine on your face. So it wasn't the red wine that you are saying is the reason why you attacked Candiace. That wasn't red wine, dear. So I said, "Ooh, baby, and so she's like, and that's not an excuse. But what I do want to know is, why did you leak it to the blogs?" And Monique was like, "What?" And she was like, "No, I didn't leak it to the blogs." Then Monique says, "Well, I didn't start recalling everything until 2 days later," which again does not fall in line with her story, because she was recalling it in the back of the thing. She said that she went cloudy. She recalled some moments of it and then went cloudy again. And then it started coming to her 2 days later. And Wendy goes, "Okay, so that falls in line with when the blogs got the story, was 2 days after." So she was like, "I didn't say any of those things." So she's saying that she didn't say them. What do you guys think? Because it was one-sided. Do you think that Ashley or Monique got ahead of it, was trying to get ahead of it? Do you think that was Monique? Because Ashley says it could have been other people at the bar, and they're saying no, because why would anybody wait on that tea? Why would anybody wait on it? And she says, so on the day, a few days later, you tweeted, "Ask and you shall receive." That, she was like, was that about the situation? Sure was. Sure did. She was already defensive, right? And then Robin says, it's not about you, like being tough. Like, this is not what this is about. It wasn't warranted what you did to her. It was not warranted, and it's not the move. And she said, she explained, Robin says, Candiace gets on our nerves like really, really, really bad, but never to the point where you want to lose control and fight her. Candiace is back at therapy, and she's saying that she questions everything. I loved who I thought she was. Her therapist asks her, did you have any contribution to this? How did you contribute to this physical altercation? And she starts to answer. He was like, wait, think about it. And she was like, no, I've already thought about it, and I had nothing to do. Nothing I did to her warranted that response. I agree that if you're going to say the physical altercation, nothing you did warranted that response. Like I said on Twitter, I could see if Monique like tugged her hair, like, girl, don't fuck with me. To me, I would have been okay with that. Like, even though she touched her hair, that's when you cross the personal boundary. But I can see if that was the extent of it, like a warning, right? What role did you play in her betraying you? He was asking her really good questions, and she says, I did everything that I thought was right. I responded differently than last year. I've changed. And they showed her again apologizing over and over and over again to Monique. So how many times does she have to apologize? That I don't know. Let me go. So he was like, so what would you say to Monique if you had to have a conversation with her now? She said nothing. And I'm with Candiace. Like, I don't think that I can come back from that. That was just too violent, and it was just too blackout, and it was just too aggressive, and it was like too angry. It was like you have something personally wrong and something built up, like it's something else there. And that's what Wendy was trying to get at. Like, what is it? Because I don't understand it. So anyways, Giselle gets her notes together, right? And when she starts recalling a pattern of behavior, you can see Monique get upset, and she goes, well, let me start taking notes too. So she's already starting to be condescending, because she doesn't like Giselle. Her and Giselle don't like each other, and we're not going to act like the behavior is not going to be there, right? So she's interrupting Giselle. She goes, let me take notes. She says, your first season, you threatened to punch me in the face. They rolled the clip. She said, you took an umbrella to Robin's neck. They rolled the clip. You told Candiace that you would drag her while you was pregnant, and they rolled the clip. And she says, and then you did it. So you've been telling us who you are. I believe that is who you are. I believe that is who and what you are. And you know, I'm trying to raise black girls who don't believe that physical violence and all this other stuff. So then Monique interjects and says, yeah, I'm sure that's whatever story you told them. I'm sure they did, you know, whatever your daughters felt, that's whatever story that you told them. So Giselle was being real self-righteous. She was acting like, my daughters are never gonna fight, I'm teaching my girls, and all of this stuff, which is very self-righteous, girl. You don't know what your daughters are going to be doing when they come across anybody. They might get into a fight. They might walk away. You don't know. You just don't know, and you just don't know how somebody is going to react, and that's just what it is. Robin cuts off, and Wendy was about to do it too, Monique, to check her on her condescending responses to them. And so Karen goes, this is my friend, and she says, you could tell, and you're very jaded about it. You're supposed to be the moderator, and she's being condescending. You would cut us off if we was doing that, and you haven't cut us off. You're allowing her to continue to interrupt and continue to be condescending, and I didn't like it either. So Karen says to Monique, you fucked up, and when you said you blacked out, you got to address that, and that's not something that you can fix by yourself. So Monique turns it on, and she brings in the church aspect and says she's going to talk to her pastor and his wife. She says she has no reason and no justification for what she did. Now, is that true? Now, you don't have any reason, and you're not trying to justify what you did to Candiace. That's a problem. That's a problem to me. You can't you're not justify. You're saying there was no reason why you did what you did. So but at the same time, it was also her talking, right? Talking too much. Okay. Ashley is looking at Giselle, making faces like, girl, okay, whatever. Your daughters are going to be, you know, they're never going to fight. They're never going to get into conflict, because that's what Giselle was giving, right? Karen says to Monique, the fact that you said you blacked out, that's a problem. That's a problem, and you can't fix that by yourself. Wendy says you were aware, and she goes, yeah, I was very aware. I was like, girl, you need to calm down. So she says that her adrenaline is still going, is still pumping from a week. I wasn't able to look that up to see how long your adrenaline is pumping after a physical altercation. I don't know. I can't say if she's telling the truth or not. She says, but you came around that barn and was yelling and saying that you were going to kill that bitch, and that's a problem for me. And she goes, well, has anybody ever been in a fight? And Wendy says, yes, I've been in a fight. They were all saying, yeah, we've been in fights. You're taking advice that your mother gave you at 7 years old and trying to apply it at 35 years old, 36 years old, with a woman with 3 children. Right. Okay. That's what you're trying to say. That was your justification, right? You're saying that the girl talks too much. She doesn't know when to be quiet. She's antagonistic. She pushes people buttons verbally. So that's why you did it. But you say here there's no reason or no justification. To me, I felt like that was a lie. Giselle goes, there's no humility here. There's no regret here. There's no, oh my God, I'm sorry. And she's like, right, I'm not remorseful. And she's like, Ashley said, well, she didn't say she was remorseful. Ashley understands Monique's actions because she said it herself that Candiace talks too much. She doesn't talk no more than you, Ashley. So whatever. She says she was embarrassed. Wendy explains that you said you were embarrassed because that's selfish. You're afraid of how you look. You're not sorry for your actions. You're afraid of how you look. And so she says, I'm embarrassed because I don't want people to feel like they may not be safe around me. Well, if you say that you get blackout drunk when somebody you get blackout drunk, you black out into blackout violence when somebody is talking to you that you don't like and you feel like they're antagonistic, so you start fighting them. That behavior can be demonstrated on any of these women sitting here. If you don't like what they're saying at any time, then you could just fight anybody, right? As that's what's going on, because that's what this whole space is about. This arena is about. The woman, you argue, you have your war of words. And I think it is a unspoken understanding that we are not going to get physically violent with each other. I think that if you have a friend group and you're like, these are the rules of our friend group, then if somebody breaks those rules, they should be held accountable for it. And I just believe that. But if the person is sitting there and saying, I'm only embarrassed because of how I acted, I don't want you guys to think that's who I am, but you have demonstrated a pattern of behavior, they're going to say, well, I think that is who you are. I think that's who and what you are. Giselle, she says, I don't understand, because this girl says, you have no reason, you have no justification for your behavior, but you're not remorseful. So you had no reason to do what you did, but you're not sorry that you did it. And because you had no reason what you did, you don't want anybody else to think that this is how you are, but you have no reason to do what you did. That was your words. And you have no justification to do what you did, but you're not remorseful. Giselle says, I don't want to be anywhere near you. That's fine. You can leave. Bitch, I'm already leaving. Don't do that. Now, if I hit you in the back of your head, I would be justified in my behavior because I don't like what you said to me. And based on how you operate, bitch, we could hit each other if I don't like what you said, right? I'm with a pastor, and I have an image to protect. And girl, like Karen said, girl, you had your mind made up. This is not about Jamal. This is not about an image. This is you talking about a cheating pastor. You're using him as a barometer of images that you have to maintain. His dick has its own image in the church to maintain. Do you mean the image of, oh, I'm a lover, not a fighter? You want Jamal to be seen as the lover, right? The lover boy amongst the church, sticking his dick in everybody. Is that the image you're trying to protect, Giselle? You sound ridiculous, girl. You sound ridiculous. I don't feel anything. I don't know what it is that I feel. The adrenaline is still running. Just pray for me. So you have tears. What are the tears for? Because you're not remorseful for your actions. So I'm confused at the tears. You want empathy and grace because you don't want nobody to think that that is who you are, but you have no remorse for what you did. So you feel like it's okay what you did. You have not called Candiace to apologize. Have you called Candiace to apologize? This is Wendy. No, you haven't. Okay, well, they're looking like, girls, so what's the point? Why the fuck are we here? That's what Wendy says later, and I don't blame her. But we also have to, this is Monique, we also have to take into account people who talk disrespectful to each other. That's just as bad when they get in your face and antagonize you. Now, this is my question. What is the group's agreement about physical violence? What is the group's agreement about physical violence? Is the agreement amongst this friend group saying, hey, we're not going to get violent with each other? Because if that is the agreement and Monique broke the agreement, what should be the consequence for Monique's behavior? To not be, are you going to punish her and not be in the friend group? Are you guys going to figure out why she's triggered by Candiace to the point where she blacks out and she has an uncontrollable response? Like I said the other day, didn't I say that the other day in my car when I was driving? That's somebody that is not, you're not safe to be around a person who automatically blacks out because they don't like how you're talking to them and they get blackout violent drunk. So to me, I feel like, well, Ashley was trying to figure out a way to justify Monique's actions. Wendy was getting loud, right, and explaining to Monique, you know, we need a seat at the table. She was on that shit, right? We know that we don't agree with what Wendy's perspective on that. They kept telling Wendy to be quiet because of the baby. First of all, this is going to be more than likely a heated conversation. The baby should be laying down somewhere or kept at the babysitter. We're not going to adjust our conversation for the baby. Put the baby down in another room. Lay the baby down. Put the baby down in a swing or something. Why didn't you have a babysitter? Anyways. So, like Karen said, Giselle had made up her mind before she even got there, girl. We know she did. And I would have felt like Giselle would have been more authentic if she said, girl, I've been waiting for you to fuck up. I've been waiting for you to fuck up. I knew that you were not a good look for this group, and you've proved it, because we have held ourselves above a standard, and we have said we are not going to fight with each other in this friend group. We are not going to get physical with each other, and you broke it, and I knew you was going to be the one to do it, because you ain't shit, and you ain't shit without your husband, and you ain't shit. That's what she should have said, instead of throwing in her daughters and throwing in Jamal. You should have been honest and authentic. You were inauthentic in that moment, Giselle, with your raggedy ass. Anyways, she says, I was gone. That's what she says. But you weren't gone, Monique. You were aware. You recalled the story, exactly what happened to the driver. And to me, she was recalling it in a way that she was proud of her actions. That's what I saw. It's taking me out of who I am. Ashley recommends maybe you temporarily take a break from the cameras. Screw these cameras. But she didn't deserve that. That's what Karen said. She didn't deserve what you did to her. And she says, well, I'm just tired of people having grown-up sized temper tantrums. The only thing that Monique goes to is belittling Candiace from coming from generational wealth. You keep belittling this woman who has been taken care of by her parents, and because you are a hard worker. You're not for lazy mom who married into money, right? This girl did not marry into money. She was born into money, and you have a problem with it because every single time you get a chance, you belittle her by calling her a little girl. You belittle her by thinking that you can actually put your hands on her in order to make her be quiet because you don't like what she's saying to you. And you keep saying, little girl, little girl, little girl, little girl, grown up temper tantrum, using these words to further prove to me that you don't really have any respect for Candiace. So you guys look down on Candiace from coming from money. She can't help that she came from money. She can't help that she came from a family of 2 doctors. She cannot help that. And it seems as though Candiace is that's used against her. That her mom was taking care of her. You know, black people, we take pride in struggling, right? We don't understand when somebody comes from or is born into wealth, how they behave. Just like they said, that's the reason why Candiace didn't get the hair tossing cues, because she doesn't come from that. She don't come from that. So she didn't get the street language. She didn't get it. Monique is not from the same household. But yet and still she's told she's a child because her parents are taking care of her. No, my parents are making sure that I'm okay. I'm their daughter. And they didn't kick me out at 18 or 19 and decided to take they wanted to make sure I succeeded. They didn't want to see me struggle. So they bought me a house to make sure that I didn't have to struggle. But for some reason, there's a lack of respect for Candiace because she comes from money. And she's dark skinned, and she's little, and she got a mouth on her because she can't fight. Because she don't come from that. But I'm going to have to defend myself, so I'm going to have this mouth on me. Candiace's mother said she will cuss your ass out. She has a vicious mouth. Now, what's the line? What is the line that needs to be drawn? What's the line? So what can Candiace say? What line is being crossed to where Candiace I can't use my words to get you together, girl, without you wanting to fight me? So what line can't Candiace cross? Candiace can't get loud. So what's the rule? To me, I feel like Monique broke a friend group agreement. There needs to be consequences for her behavior. She doesn't have any remorse. So for a person who doesn't have any remorse, for you not to apply a consequence to what your group has said is bad behavior, she's going to do it again. Because there's no consequence. That's how punishments operate. Or consequences for behavior. If there's no natural consequence for a behavior from a person who is not remorseful for their actions, don't judge me based on one mistake. She starts holding baby Dean. Prayer will handle all things. What you're willing to do, that's what Ashley says. I want to know what you're willing to do. You're a good person who made a mistake, but you can't let people's words destroy you. So Robin says to Wendy, oh, you're not buying it, huh? She was like, girl, what the fuck are we doing here? She called it a mistake for embarrassing herself, but not remorseful. So Robin says, I don't agree with trying to win approval at the expense of other people. So Robin clocked Monique in that statement. Girl, I see where you're trying to go. I see what side you're trying to get on, because we were supposed to be icing out Candiace. And you thought by whooping her ass, we was going to be on your side. We're not doing that. You're not going to win our approval at the expense of other people. They said, well, we need to help Monique as friends. We need to be her friend. You need to use it for a positive, as a positive spin on it. You need to talk to girls about how to react in situations like this. And she's like, you also need to talk to them about not provoking people. Monique, you're a lost cause. You're a lost cause. There's no remorse. You said there's no remorse, there's no justification, there's no reason. Right there, you could explain to them, you know what, I'm mad at Candiace. I'm mad at Candiace because of ... But you keep saying it's not because of ... You said you had no reason to do what you did. You said you have no justification to do what you did, but you also don't have any remorse. Those two things don't go together. They don't go together. If you have no justification or reason, I don't know why I did that. I am not justified in my reactions, but I don't have no remorse. Those two moods, they don't go together. I don't know. You guys let me know. Is there a space where you can not feel remorseful for your actions that you had no reason to demonstrate? Let me know, because that doesn't make sense to me. Anyways, that's all I have to say. Let me see if I have anything else real quick. What time is it? Okay, I got about 5 minutes. I just thought, here, let me see what I have here. Oh, God. Monique was proudly retelling the details of her fight to the producer in the car. She said she was proud. She got her, and she's been wanting to get her. Not Gigi, but Candiace. No one asked Monique, what has Candiace done or said to you to warrant that violent, uncontrollable, blacked out, unremorseful response? What did Candiace do to you for you to go from that to that? You felt that you were provoked. Okay. Why didn't Candiace have a conversation? I'm sorry, why didn't Monique have a conversation with Candiace instead of allowing it to build up to blacked out violence? She's sorry and wanted sympathy. She's not sorry, not remorseful, but you wanted sympathy because you didn't want anybody to think about that. That's who you are. Watching Monique not have remorse, being condescending and defensive. Maybe she does feel warranted, even though she said she didn't know what it was, but it was also Candiace talking shit. Do we expect people to have remorse after fighting someone? So after a while you get tired of someone verbally gathering you and enough is enough, it's time to physically fight. Is that what we're saying here? I can even see if Monique shifted Candiace's wig by tugging on it. That lighthearted, don't play with me, bitch energy, but to the extreme of blacking out. but also immediately recalling it, then it going cloudy again. She sounds confused because she's not handling the truth correctly. She went on Watch What Happens Live, and Andy was talking to her. He had 1,000 questions for her. Monique is still out of here. Like, to me, should she be kicked off the show? It's clear that Giselle doesn't want to be around her, so she won't film with her. Robin is not feeling her. Wendy is not feeling her. The only one I feel that could really give a gauge on the issue is Wendy, because she really doesn't have any biases, right? She doesn't not like Monique, right? She's just going off of Monique's actions. Ashley, on the other hand, and Karen, on the other hand, have picked a side. Giselle and Robin have picked a side. Wendy is really the only one that could really say, I don't have any biases, I don't have any dogs in this fight, but this is how I feel about your behavior. There has to be a consequence for her behavior. But I heard that she's not on a lot of the trips that they go on or whatever. So maybe she takes the rest of the season off, and then they just follow her story by herself, you know, and just her personal story. She just doesn't have any group events with the ladies. Anyways, y'all take care of each other. This was long. I wanted to get through everything. I still had more to say. Giselle outlined a pattern of behavior, and Monique still said, that's not me. Sometimes we have an idealized version of ourselves that we present to people, and every now and then our real self, the self that needs work, shows up, revealing parts that we don't like about ourselves. And that's what happened with Monique. But Monique is not remorseful. She's not remorseful. So she's not. So I don't understand how that works. How can you not be remorseful for your actions, but also at the same time say you don't have no justification for doing what you did? I don't get it. Anyways, y'all take care of each other. Protect your energy. Let's get down in the comments. Let me know what you think about the episode. That's it. Peace.